Happy Feast of St Ignatius to all of you. Friends, every year on the 31st of July, Catholics, and especially the Jesuits, celebrate the feast of St Ignatius of Loyola. Yes, we must celebrate the feast of St Ignatius. Why? Who was this Ignatius of Loyola? Ignatius was born in Spain at Loyola in the year 1491. Till the age of 30, he was a man given to the follies of the world. He wanted to win name and fame. That was his singular goal. And he was after it. Thus, he was a self-centered person, doubtless. In other words, he worshipped his self. And he enjoyed doing it. But at the age of 30, he was transformed into a new person. And on the 31st of July, 1556, when he died in Rome, he was a religious, a renowned spiritual director, a mystic, and finally, the founder of a religious order. What was the secret behind this change in him? How did this miracle happen? On the 20th of May, 1521, he was wounded in a war at Pamplona. During his convalescence, he went through a deep spiritual experience. God and Ignatius directly meet each other. In other words, as he says in his spiritual exercises, God directly deals with Ignatius and Ignatius directly deals with God. Ignatius experiences God's unconditional, deep, and unlimited love for him. He falls in love with God. He is deeply united with God. He eventually becomes a devotee of God. The self-centered Ignatius becomes God-centered. Now he worships God instead of his ego. He is able to discern God's will for him and follows his direction because of his love for God. What is the result of his obedience to God's will? Well, we have a saint. St. Ignatius was a symbol of God's love. For him, serving God meant serving people. Thus, he shared his spiritual experiences with many interested youngsters. Some of them wanted to follow in his footsteps. Thus was born the Society of Jesus on the 27th of September, 1540. For the last 470 years, the Jesuits are at the service of God and his people all over the world with their motto, for God's greater glory. Today, there are 19,000 Jesuits all over the world. They engage themselves in giving the spiritual exercises for the faith formation of people, in the field of education, of course, in social service sectors, particularly for the poor and the oppressed, and communication media. A close friend of Ignatius and a member of the Society of Jesus, St. Francis Xavier, came to India. And we have many institutions named after him. And I'm sure many of us are familiar with these institutions. In Gujarat too, there are about 300 Jesuits serving in various sectors. St. Ignatius is a saint for all of us. He is indeed a mystic. He is an inspiration to all of us. Let us celebrate together his feast today. Happy feast.